Outdoors Queensland acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of the lands where we gather across the state, and we pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the important roles that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples play regarding the land, sky and waterways that are used for outdoor activities. I'm in Brisbane or Meanjin on Yagara country, which is a place of the Jagera and Turrbal peoples. If you'd like to, you can pop it in the chat, the place in the country you're joining from today, if you know that. We also acknowledge the funding that's provided by Queensland Government to support outdoor activities right across the state. And that includes funding that allows Outdoors Queensland to do our work as the peak industry body for outdoor activities. And that sort of extends also to the work that the different government departments and ministers have done regarding outdoor activities, and particularly the sport and recreation, who are in the Department of Tourism, Innovation and Sport. So my name is Dom Courtney, Executive Officer of Outdoors Queensland. Our Operations Manager, Mark Squires, is a co-host for today's session. Thank you, Mark. And welcome to everyone joining us, plus others who might watch it later on YouTube if and when they get a chance. This is episode 12 of Coffee and Conversation for 2022. And you're very welcome, whether this is your first time joining us or whether you haven't missed one yet. It's probably, I don't know, Gavin, you might be in that boat, mate. You seem to be one of the very regular attendees. Probably Claire's up there too, I think. So there's probably a few people who are have been to quite a few sessions. So and on that, if you have been to plenty of these, or even if it's one of your first ones, always happy to have feedback as well. So if there's anything that anyone wants to let us know about, please give us some feedback on how we're going with these sessions, what we could do better, or even just tell us if we're awesome. That's always welcome. But always happy to have some feedback on how we're doing what we do. So yeah, feel free to let us know. And ask questions as we go along too. You don't just have to wait to give us feedback later on. So all right, quick breakdown of the agenda there, a little summary. A few different opportunities. As I said, if you've got anything to add as we go along, please speak up. And any topics for discussion in future sessions, please let us know. I'm always happy to hear about different ideas for how we do things. A few things, just this one, the Outdoor Education Awards. Mark and I attended the National Outdoor Education Conference in the Blue Mountains just last week. And during that conference, the winners of the Outdoor Education Awards, so the National Outdoor Education Awards, were announced. Want to congratulate all the finalists and winners of those awards, but also want to do a little bit of humble boasting, I suppose, is that the Queensland organisations and individuals really actually took out a lot of these awards. So they were really, it was a real celebration of the Queensland contribution to outdoor education, which is great. So Trinity Anglican School up at Cairns, they were awarded Program of the Year, so the National Program of the Year, winning that award from the other state and territory finalists. Lindsay Blinko, who's a student at the University of the Sunshine Coast, he won the Emerging Practitioner of the Year across the country. Emma Beveridge, who's again from Trinity Anglican School, she was awarded the National Practitioner of the Year, which is great. And then 3 Queenslanders were awarded Service to Outdoor Education Awards. So Carol McIntosh, James McIntosh, and Andrew Critter Boyle, who's Outdoors Queensland's president as well, and has been on our board for a long time. So that was great to see. And we also had a Queenslander in amongst the Outdoor Education Fellowship recipients. So John Hodges, who's there in that bottom right photo there, second from the left in that photo. So yeah, really wonderful to see all those people and organisations being acknowledged for their contributions. So just wanted to highlight that. And a big thank you to the conference organisers for a really terrific national conference. And speaking of awards, finalists have been announced for all the categories of the 2022 Outdoors Queensland Awards, and the presentation will be held on Friday, 28th of October. It'll be online, and we'd really like to have as many people as possible from right across the outdoors join to celebrate the achievements of the nominees, and you can join via Facebook Live. So really encourage as many people as possible to join us for that. And a big thank you, shameless plug for the contributions of the sponsors of those awards. So I've got it listed there along the bottom of the screen: the Queensland Government, Brisbane City Council, K2 Base Camp, and Active Queenslanders Industry Alliance. That sponsorship does make a really big difference to us being able to do those awards. So thank you for that. And Mark's just shared the link there to the awards night. So check it out on our website.
And Donald, if I can just jump in for a second, the keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed that
yes, Bo Miles, of course you can.
Bo Miles was the one of the speakers and in one of the photographs from the Outdoor Education Awards down in the Blue Mountains. He, in fact, is our guest speaker on the night of the awards as well. So he's a very entertaining fellow and definitely worth coming along for that, if nothing else.
Yeah, thanks. He's certainly, I think he's going to be really good. So I should have mentioned that, Mark. So yeah, Bo Miles will be our guest speaker during the awards presentation. So yeah, thanks, mate, for popping that in. And yeah, definitely, I think worth a listen. So I hope you certainly find that. And Bo did speak at the National Outdoor Education Conference as well. He was one of the, might have been the final keynote speaker, talking about his experiences of adventure, which is interesting as an academic, and also he's actually a YouTube influencer. So it's an interesting career path to where he's got to. Moving along, a few reminders. The Sport and Recreation Disaster Recovery Program, we've mentioned this a few times, and we had some people from Sport and Rec talk about this a while back. It is still available, so there's still funding available for eligible sport and active rec organisations in areas that are declared in those disaster recovery funding arrangements. So it goes on the local government areas. So it's worth having a look at. There's also other additional grant payments available. So just check the eligibility online for that one. I just wanted to mention it because a few people have asked if that's still open, and it definitely is. So check it out. And the other one that I just put on the screen there, under the Activate Queensland strategy, one of the things that Queensland Government's funding is this Emerging Athletes Pathways program. And there's details on the Sport and Rec website. It's very relevant really to outdoor sports, and it's about funding for young athletes to compete in specified events that are on that on a schedule in there. So just check it out. And there is a way for organisations to add events for next year. So it could be a trail running state championships or national championships, those sort of events. It could be a mountain bike event. So just check it out. But there's ways to submit events for that as well. So it's certainly worth looking at. Any questions as we go along, please just put your hand up or we'll sing out. A reminder as well, the Gambling Community Benefit Fund. So it's open right now for a round. They've had 2 rounds previously this year. This current round closes 31st of October. You can see the wonderful graphic that I shared. I just pulled that off their website. There weren't too many pictures or anything, but it's up to $35,000 in this round. It closes the end of the month, but you need to check out the eligibility requirements and what your responsibilities are. We have a fairly simplified process to apply for that Gambling Community Benefit Fund. So check it out, and we're happy to act as a referee for any members who apply for it. You do need to have referees as part of it. So just contact us and let us know if you'd like us to do that. Please just let us know. Yeah, before you put in your application. So yeah. All right. A couple of things for during October. So October is actually the Indigenous Business Month this year as well. So and it's actually about First Nations business owners and their non-Indigenous allies gathering together to look at actions that are happening today and how they might impact the tomorrow for our communities. So it's right throughout October as an initiative of Melbourne Business School's Murray Indigenous Business Class. So it's all about business providing positive role models for young First Nations Australians and improving quality of life in First Nations communities. So that information is on that website there. I just wanted to flag it. It is something that is an important part of what we might be able to do as far as outdoor organisations engaging with Indigenous businesses, not just during October, but it's a good way to start down that area as well. And they're looking for it to be promoted. So I was sort of happy to share that one across the group. And I'm not sure if Matthew from and our guest has joined us yet. Mark, you haven't seen him on the list?
No, not yet, Tom.
No, okay. Well, we might just circle back if Matthew joins us. A few other notifications in here. The Savannah Guides, so they're an Outdoors Queensland member. So they're a group of nature-based tour guides and tour operators right across the Savannah, the Northern Australia. So basically from Cairns right across to Broome, across Northern Australia. And then a high level of professionalism. I actually attended the one up in Forsyth, up near Cobble Gorge 4 years ago, I think it was now. So, and that was to talk about the adventure activity standards back then and how they're relevant for particularly tour guides. And they've actually got a Savannah Guides field school. There's one coming up in the East Kimberley, which includes El Crestro Station. That's only, I think it's next week. So we might have left everyone a bit late for that one. But the next one after that is in Winton from the 1st to the 6th of November. So just wanted to highlight that because those field schools are a really valuable resource that you might want to be aware of if you're looking for something like that. Yeah, so just wanted to flag it. Savannah Guides certainly do some really good work in that sort of space. Another one listed again in tourism space, this Building Resilient Tourism Infrastructure Fund. It's a $5 million fund that's jointly funded by the Australian and the Queensland governments, and it's grants for impacted tourism businesses to build resilience and aid response to flooding and natural disasters. So that one closes, I think it's midnight the 28th of October. So there's heaps of information about that one on the website, but I just wanted to flag it because it's only open for the next few weeks. So I think just that one's potentially relevant for some, well, is relevant for some of our members, particularly people who've been impacted by natural disasters in recent time, particularly in New South Wales, but it looks like it could hit some of southern Queensland as well. Won't do too much damage, and hopefully there'll be enough support there for people who need it as we go along. Couple of other ones, Mental Health Month. I've got the slides mixed up there. That one's actually the up the top. That one's Work Safe Month, Safe Work Month. it's all about getting involved and showing commitment to improving workplace health and safety, mental wellbeing and injury rehab in workplaces right throughout the year. That's the Work Well 365, the little logo there. That's about helping everyone being safe all year on their website, and some a range of different events to help Queensland businesses and workers keep up to date with best practice workplace health and safety and injury rehab. So it's worth checking that out. And there are a few different events coming up this month, but right throughout the year as well. So I think, you know, it's something that we never want to lose sight of, the need for workplace health and safety in our organisations, and that includes volunteer organisations as well. So that side of things, it's an important part of what we do. So Mental Health Month, which I started to talk about. So this is Mental Health Week, starts tomorrow, and the theme is awareness, belonging and connection. And there really are a lot of events on their website, which includes community walks and some family fun days. There's dragon boating, there's bike riding on there at quite a few locations across the state, which is really good to see. So I find it quite pleasing to see that quite a lot of the Mental Health Week events that are being scheduled involve outdoor activities right across the state. So that's always good to see that there is that linkage between what we all do so often and also the mental health of the community. So it's good to see. So check it out. It's something that I think in the past probably hasn't been spoken about as much as it should have. And I think the mental health of our communities, and particularly as we're emerging from the last couple of years of impact from COVID and everything else that's been going on and other things happening across the world, you know, we need to be keeping mental health awareness front and center, and not just having it as a background part of what we do. So I just wanted to flag that one as well. So this as well, Ride to Work Day, and that's this year is Wednesday the 19th of October, and there's heaps of information on their website, including suggestions for people about riding to work. And they've even got a little, it's a 3-step guide to Ride to Work Day on the 19th of October. The first one's find your ride. It even says just borrow a bike from someone if you don't have one. There's opportunities in there. They talk about different options. Plan your ride to work and work out, I guess, the route and everything else. And then their third of the 3-part plan is enjoy your ride. That's it. So it's find your ride, plan your ride and enjoy your ride. So happy, just check out the website, and yeah, really a good one as far as getting more people active and as it says on the screen, enjoying a happier and healthier commute. The next one there, speaking of bike riding, this one's very Brisbane centric, but it's quite relevant because Mount Coot-tha is a significant mountain biking venue across Brisbane, and it's the draft Mount Coot-tha Reserve Mountain Bike Concept Plan, which has been released by Brisbane City Council. That's part of the Brisbane off-road cycling strategy. This draft has been released as a high-level plan, and there's proposed facilities. You can see there possible future opportunities listed, but it does say anything that is subject to detailed assessment, design and future budget as far as delivery of those opportunities. They are seeking feedback right now through an online survey, and that closes at the end of the month. So it's worth checking it out if you're involved in mountain biking, and also for other organisations that potentially use Mount Coot-tha Reserve. So there's sections in there about bushwalking and shared use trails as well. So it is worth a look. That literally the diagram that's on the screen there, that's the concept plan. So everything on there is what they've released, but there's more info on their website as well. It hasn't been adopted yet. They're seeking feedback on this draft plan, so it's worth having a look at it and just see how it works. Yeah. I just wanted to put a bit of information up about the Great Getaways Queensland program that we run. Mark, did you want to speak to this? Like Mark runs this for us in-house, but I've just got some information there about the upcoming weekend adventures and a couple of paddle days as well. Did you want to talk to this one, mate?
Yeah, sure. Just so you know, we have just launched, in fact, yesterday, the new website for Great Getaways. And so all the forthcoming activity days and weekends are listed there, plus all the information about the program itself. I'll put up a link to that in a moment. Basically, we've added, I think, 4 new weekends in the last couple of weeks. So a Curramundi weekend in November this year, back to Curramundi again in March next year. We've got a Seaforth Pines weekend in March, and Talabudra weekend, and I forget the date. I think it's March as well, or maybe February. But the details are all on the website. And I'd encourage you to take a look at it. And whilst those weekends might not be for you, they are almost certainly appropriate for somebody you know. So share the information, pass it on. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I've actually shared, because I did start this presentation before we launched the website, I put the old address on there on the bottom of the screen, but Mark can share the new Flash website on the in there that we just released. And Mark's just asked a question, Mark from Camp Cooties just asked a question in there about ideas. We'll come to that, Mark. Ideas for a fun Christmas party for Outdoor Ed Centre staff in Southeast Queensland. I think that's a great topic. Happy to come back to that one, mate. Maybe if people have different ideas.
Whenever you are done.
Wait, that's a great option. Yeah, let's have a chat about that now before we get into COVID protocols, because that's for so I'll tell you one that we did as a team a couple of, probably 3 or 4 years ago now, is Outdoors Queensland. We've done a few good ones like going paddling together and that sort of thing, but we actually went axe throwing one time, which was an interesting session. Some people were much better at it than others, I've got to say, and I wasn't in the elite level on that one, but it was good fun. It seems a bit crazy, but it was fun. It was one of those lovely Brisbane days where it was about 38 degrees and 100% humidity. So I'm pretty sure that's what affected my throwing accuracy, was the axe slipping out at times, mate. But no one was harmed in the exercise. So I don't know if anyone's got any other good suggestions. I thought Gavin was going to tell you to go bushwalking, mate. That's the bushwalking Queensland standard suggestion for any gathering, isn't it, Gavin? Yeah. Yeah. Claire might suggest you want to go horse riding.
Well, I might get horse riding.
I mean, yeah, we've also gone. We've been paddling a couple of times in different places as well, which was good and nice option. But yeah, there's plenty of different options, I think, to have a look at.
Could have it up at the burnout bridges, and that way people can kayak or horse ride or walk the stretch of that rail trail.
Yeah, Brisbane Valley Rail Trail's another option. Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of options, I think. Moving along, if anyone has any other good ideas for Mark, pop it in the chat, I reckon.
Thank you.
How's it going? Yeah, no worries, mate. COVID protocols. This has actually probably become a little bit more personal for some of us recently. After 2.5 years of avoiding COVID, Mark and I both tested positive last week. So that might explain why I've been a little bit, I don't know, probably not my normal self this week. And so Mark and I both went to the Outdoor Ed conference last week, and after we got home, I tested positive on Friday. Mark hit the positive sign on Saturday, which is unfortunately. So we've both got our home isolation and still complying with all the COVID rules about masks, etc. So that's been interesting. I saw, Bill, you put your hand up. Did you want to say anything about that one?
I was expressing frustration for you. That's sorry, wrong signal.
Thanks, mate. Yes, yeah. The COVID finally got us both within a day of each other as well. So I wondered if Mark was just going out in sympathy that once I told him I had it, but yeah, it's not good. So we're both still working from home, and I think on the path to recovery, but it's certainly no fun, as from what other people have advised previously. I'm certainly probably more empathetic and sympathetic for what people have been through with it. The other one that is always relevant, but yeah, we haven't had any update on the request for financial support from the Queensland Government for the impacts of suspension of school camps back in term 1 this year. Still waiting to see what happens there, but now that we're in term 4, that's probably not holding my breath on what we might get out of that, if anything. So, but we won't forget about it, of course. It's still a work in progress. The Queensland Government, they still have this image up there about the protocols around being COVID safe, and the boosters and vaccinations still important, wearing a mask to reduce risk, because it says there, testing, staying home when unwell, keeping distance, and maintaining good hand hygiene. There's a heap of information on their website. I think some of it has become clearer over time, but there's still quite a few changes happening as well as we go along. Speaking of changes, just last week, National Cabinet met, and they announced that from next Friday, anyone who tests positive for COVID is not going to be required to isolate, except for some workers in some high-risk settings. So I think that's such as health settings, etc., and aged care. So we'll still be required to isolate. But so that was interesting, particularly from Mark and myself, considering we just test positive. So we've done the isolation because we had to. But it's going to be interesting, I think, once that kicks in, that if people test positive, they don't actually need to isolate. There's still going to be expectations to manage, so you're not spreading COVID, but that mandatory isolation is actually removed from next week. So hopefully it won't lead to a spike in cases, etc. But it is an important thing just to be aware of, that those rules are changing. Obviously, the media was all over that decision, but I just want to flag it because it is going to probably put some more responsibility on organisations when people aren't going to be actually legally required to isolate once that comes in. And I understand that's right across. It was a National Cabinet decision, and it'll be implemented by all states. So I think that's going to happen in the next few days and come in from next week. Any questions, comments on that one? I just wanted to flag it because it is an important change as far as that side of things. The other one, which it does say there on the screen as well, that the vaccine mandate for education settings, that was removed at the end of June, as we've spoken about before. But there have been further vaccine mandates, including for workers in healthcare, so the vaccine mandates no longer required in that, as it says there on the screen. And but they do say some employees and workers must be up to date with their vaccines, but not required in other settings. So it is a little bit confusing, and it's worth checking out the information on the website. But it's, as I said, it's been removed from the education settings back in, I think it was the 30th of June. So yeah, that's certainly worth having a look at. Any comments, questions? Please just sing out. I've also got their Education Queensland. I've just checked on their operating rules, and this is particularly relevant for outdoor education and excursions. So any outdoor activities when school departments, like state schools, are going to those to camps or even day trips. There hasn't been any significant changes to the Department of Education rules in the last month since our last session. So they do still have on their website that suggestion, which I think is a good one, that schools could consider providing students and staff with RATs to conduct at home, it says, before attending camps to reduce the risk of becoming ill while at camp. And it's actually, I think it's a really good suggestion. It's not in there as a mandatory thing that a school has to provide those tests, but the idea is if people have tested before they turn up, it can reduce the chances of illness at a camp. So that's great. And there's also quite a bit of information on their website about dealing with close contacts of a confirmed COVID-19 case while at camp, if that happens. And it talks about if you've shared an enclosed bedroom or slept in adjacent beds on either side of a confirmed case, or in a partitioned dorm, in certain situations, you'll be considered a close contact. Or I think if you've shared a tent. So then it just says that close contacts have to follow Queensland Health directions, and the rules for close contacts I've had a personal refresher of in the last week, because my wife has been in close contact with me, but fortunately hasn't tested positive. And Mark's been through a similar thing, but unfortunately not with a good outcome there for Mark's partner. So, and hopefully all is well there as well, mate. But yeah, there is quite a bit of information there about close contacts. The other one it does specifically say is, you know, close contacts have to follow Queensland Health directions, and all the other students who aren't close contacts can continue with attendance at the camp. So it is an important consideration and understanding how that all fits in. And it has changed a little bit in the last few months at least, so it hasn't changed a lot in the last month. So sorry, just lost where I was up to. I don't think we've got anyone from the Inside the Outhouse team on the call today, but I think their next session is, I'm not sure if it's next Monday or the following Monday, but that one is a great opportunity as well, as far as networking right across the country. And it's on at, yeah, I don't know if they've adjusted to the daylight saving introduction in some of the southern states. So it's normally 4:15 on a Monday afternoon, but it might have changed to 5:15 Queensland time, I think. So yeah, check it out. Check out, particularly through Facebook's a good way of tracking down what Inside the Outhouse are up to. They're big social media users, and yeah, and spent a little bit of time with a couple of people from Inside the Outhouse during the Outdoor Education Conference, which was good to see. Good to see them there. So yeah. We've got a string of resources there. I just wanted a reminder about that. Our websites, as Mark said, we've launched the Great Getaways Queensland website just this week. Also our e-bulletins, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but Mark did put out a bulletin this week with more information about the Outdoor Education Awards that were presented during the National Outdoor Ed Conference. So that's certainly worth checking out, that bulletin. If you've got it in your inbox and haven't got around to opening it, check it out. It is a great thing to see the people who've been honoured with those awards, and also reflection on the people who contributed to those people who are receiving the awards. It's really good to see.
Sorry, can I interrupt there again?
Yes, mate.
Yes, sorry. Just to clarify, the bulletin I sent out this week wasn't a general broadcast bulletin. It was simply to the finalists with information about the evening and what they need to prepare for. But I will be sending out a more broadcast type bulletin in the next week or so with reminders and information and so on.
Oh, sorry, mate. I meant the bulletin about the National Outdoor Ed Awards that you sent out.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry. Sorry about that.
We were on different pages just then. Sorry about that. But Mark will be sending out more information about the awards presentation on Friday, 28th of October, as he just said. There's plenty of information on that, and including how to join that the presentation. We really would like to have as many people as possible join us and understand. And yes, because COVID brain, the foggy head, I don't know, but yeah, sorry if we haven't been our usual in sync pair. Not that we've ever been in a boy band or anything, but it's something that we've both been conscious of this week, I can tell you. The other one that I just wanted to mention too was the social media that we have. If you're interested in any of the different social media channels, we use different channels in different ways, and yeah, please check out where we are. Feel free to follow us, contribute through the social media discussions as well, because we really want to have as many people involved in that. Oh, Mark's got to go. I hope everything's all right there, mate. Yeah. Good luck sorting it out. Thank you, mate. Feel free to check out our social media channels and obviously all the website resources as well. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the presentation. We were going to have a special guest join us, but he hasn't turned up. So thinking we're going to finish up now, or has anyone got any topics to talk about? Gavin, did you want to talk about the Great Escarpment Trail?
Yes. On Monday night, we have got in place now the motion to form the Friends of the Great Escarpment Trail Association. Yep. And
excellent.
It's going to be incorporated in New South Wales because most of the trails in New South Wales. So we're just getting ourselves together to start recruiting members and that. And I got elected president of that organisation. And John
Congratulations, Gavin. Yep.
And John Marshall's the vice president.
The duo. Yep.
Yeah. So. We've had a few ground truthers out, and I am just amazed with the scenery on the sections where the ground truthers have actually gone through and given photos and the problems. But I'm about to go back to New South Wales National Parks now and just say, well, here's the trail put through. Any problems? And see what they say.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful, mate. And I think, you know, as much as there's been a range of different information about tourism opportunities in relation to outdoor activities, but to have a trail like that running from virtually Sydney to Brisbane, it doesn't have to be hardcore. You can do sections of it, etc. There will be some people, I'm sure, who'll be looking to do the whole thing, and probably someone looking to do it first. But once it's all released, which would be a pretty amazing achievement, but it's also about what that does for all those different communities along the way. Just being able to do sections of the trail. So yeah, that's wonderful, mate. So
and we're also looking at link trails to link like towns like Armidale, Tamworth, Glen Innes, and that with the trail itself, and as well as a link down to Coffs Harbour, so we can get a few link trails happening between the coast and the inland of New South Wales along the way, plus all the trails possibilities in Queensland that link to it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
It's-
through the active trail strategy in Queensland.
Like it's, I mean, this is part of it too, isn't it? It's almost like that, the trunk of the tree and then the branches leading off with the different opportunities. It can be really, quite amazing, once that's established. So yeah, I think it's really valuable. So well done on keeping on pushing that along, and congratulations for you and John in taking the leadership roles on that as well. So yeah, it's really good. And I know that you've been working with Bushwalking New South Wales on it as well, which is good to see too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got to go into ABC Radio on Monday morning to be interviewed on their program, because this month they're talking about 10,000 steps, bushwalking, Heart Foundation, all those sort of organisations over the month. So about health
Terrific.
and bushwalking.
Yep. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that'll be good, mate. I hope that goes well. Feel free to, if they can send you a link to it, if you want to send it to us, and we can promote that as well and get it out there. It's good to see different members who are, you know, involved in that aspect and the health aspect of outdoor activities in general. So yeah, well done on that.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Does anyone else have any topics or areas you wanted to speak about? No, we might have an early Mark, I think. We want to say thank you to Mark for co-hosting today, even while both of us have been a little COVID affected, and apologies if we haven't been our usual, what's the word, Mark? Polished selves, although there's plenty of polish on the top of my head. Anyway, thank you to Mark for all his work. Thanks to all of you for joining us, but also to, you know, all the work that all our members and volunteers and staff do in contributing what we do. So our next session will be the first Friday in November, so the 4th of November. And just like to sign off with be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and be kind to the planet. Thanks again for coming.
Thanks, folks.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye now.